I'm not sure if you know about Model Magic. I guess I should tell you about it, but I want to, give you something to sink into first here. So I'm so happy to see you here. Thanks for jumping on. Let me see if I could put a little, I wonder if there's any filter that's kind of nice. I like those rays of light coming in. So let me show you what we're dealing with here right now. I'm using this book called Toned by Strathmore. Toned paper, not that you can read that. Toned paper is awesome. Hi, Alexandra. You can see even in the picture on the cover here, toned paper is so great because the paper already has a tonality to it. You can add white and then dark, like black or gray, and then you get like these layers of light and dark. Hi, Anne. As a matter of fact, as I twirled through here, I suddenly noticed that I had a model drawing like exercise in here. Passeria Carioca. Hello, everybody. So this is like an example of I don't know when I did this, during some, but you see how I sketched with white and then I sketched with dark. So many of you know, and this is what Model Magic course is all about, that we have, this is very important to me in like my 20 years teaching, that we have like big trauma, we who love to draw. If you don't know me, I'm Laura Volpin-Testa. I'm the author of The Language of Fashion Design, and I've also been teaching fashion illustration and design, both technical and creative, at Parsons School of Design since 1995, and freelancing in the industry. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a Conte crayon called Pierre Noir. Now, I just bought this. Conte is the same, it's a Conte pencil. This is a Conte crayon. Have you heard of Conte crayons? Let me know if you have, and feel free to say hi or pop in if you have any questions, or just say hello. Okay. Eugenio, I miss you. Eugenio Lara, I'm just saying, he's an amazing designer and artist who was in my course last semester. And Eugenio, can you put the name of your brand in here too? The Bitten Elephant, I think it is. You guys got to check it out. And Patricia Field is carrying his stuff now. So Conte crayon, love you. First, I'm just going to show you the supplies. So a Conte crayon is a soft, they come in different softnesses actually, just like pencils do. So when you purchase it, there's like 2B, 3B. This one is unmarked, so maybe it's kind of a fake Conte crayon. But the beautiful thing is that you can do lines, right? And you can do like shape. Now, anyone who studied with me knows that for me, I believe we have a big trauma, back to what I was saying before. We have a trauma about pencils. And this trauma, we don't even know we have it, and it makes drawing really hard for us. It makes drawing hard for us because we think, the minute we see a pencil, we think that we're, in kindergarten again, and that we need to be drawing A, B, C. We need to be making perfect symbols and black lines on white paper, and it makes us very feel like we have to be perfect and feel like we have to be refined before we even get to loosen up, before we get to let loose, before we get to explore. So I guess I'm kind of jumping in with a few topics here. One is I want to talk about of how line can restrict you in the beginning. This Pierre Noir pencil I bought because when I was a student I think it was in Paris, or maybe in my first year in New York at Parsons, we were required to get a Pierre Noir pencil. So I haven't heard of it in 20 years. And then I bought it last week. I got the softest one they had at Jerry's Artorama. And what it is, hello Roberta, is a very sensitive pencil. I feel like I should go closer. Hang on. I'm not even showing you model drawing yet. I'm just showing you some supplies. You see how oh my gosh, it's like a pastel pencil. It's super rich. Pierre and Noir and Black Rock. I don't know if it's supposed to mean that. And then let me see how smudgy it is. I bought it and I haven't even touched it yet. Bought it for you guys. Okay, so you see how it smudges a little to create tone? You would notice that more if this paper were white. But it's always good to explore. Los Candela, hello. It's always good to get your pencils and smudge them and find out how smudgy they are, because then you know how they'll react to paint and how much they'll react to smudging. I do prefer really soft supplies because this is how we start to heal our trauma around perfect lines. So people who have studied with me, like Eugenia, who was here before, when we draw in the model drawing class, I teach fashion, but I'm also been working in costume. And even if you're only in illustration or fine art, Model Magic is still for you. It's a model drawing class that deals with standing models. All the poses are standing. It works with all body types, and it works with a variety of media. It's a lifetime course that includes like exercises and tools that I've used my whole life for model drawing. It's not a class you grow out of or like perfect or complete. They're exercises I still use. They're exercises I teach year after year after year, and that even as an experienced, seasoned illustrator, I still like grow and expand and learn when I do these exercises. And that's why I created the course. I also created it to help you guys break out of the rut of perfectionism. So for example, I just created a figure here. I didn't work from a photo, but in the Model Magic class, which I don't know if I said yet, but the coupon code, which is $111 off for the next 24 hours. The code is called REMEMBER. It's in my most recent Instagram post today. And the code REMEMBER at checkout will save you $111, which means the course will be $222. Lifetime access, private course community, etc., etc. So you can get help from me, you can ask questions, etc. Now let me just play a little more here. I use some lines here, but when I smudge, what that course is very much about, every exercise that you learn in the course, and if you have questions, just put them in the comment below, is about learning a different exercise that's going to change the way you see, change the way you use your art supplies, and change the way you approach creating art and bust a myth about drawing and art creation. And in each lesson, I will like break those things down and clarify them for you. So you get like a 20-minute video each day. Now, that was Pierre Noir. What I want to say about art supplies is play with tonality and play with math. Probably the best thing I ever learned when I got to fine art and to fashion design school was to mess up my paper, because when I did, I felt liberated. I felt free. I felt physically connected with my art creation, and I got my whole body involved. And that's also what Model Magic is about, because if you're drawing bodies, you want to be embodied. You want to be in your body while you create art. I mean, you can be connected to, source too, but like, you don't want to be only in your head and your fingers. That's why we learn to draw with our arm. We learn to draw. So you see how I'm moving my whole arm when I started this drawing, rather than only my fingers, which is very restrained. That's micro detail that you can do later, but we first start drawing with macro detail, because macro is where the movement is. When you draw with your arm, you see how much life, essence, and movement is in her, rather than just like stiff, okay? And then the other thing is, we're talking about tonalities, so dark and light. Do you see how the pure black in this sketch creates a layer of, it recedes in space? So it's very deep, it's very dark here. Because this is pure black, her neck and face come forward. That's her hair that's black. And it's in shadow because it's behind her head, behind her neck, behind her body. Okay? Now we can use white Here's another secret weapon tool you should know about. This is Sharpie brand, but many brands make this. Prismacolor makes it. Called China marker. It's no fun to sharpen. It's opaque white. See that? Which means if you use it and you paint over it, your paint's not gonna stick to the paper in that area. It's truly like a white, like a grease pencil, but it's beautiful for creating shiny highlights, which you can do over if you work in gouache, which I teach in my Freedom Fashion program for fashion design, illustration, and sketching. But you can also use it for, you know, quick highlights. You see how that's affecting what you see when you look at this drawing? You see how it's bringing things forward? So as much as black puts things into the background, white can bring things forward, right? And actually, you know, on toned paper, I could even do my whole sketch in white if I wanted to. I could play with the background. And, you know, this course, Model Magic, is very much about intuitive and liberating and exploring and curiosity and discovery. But the big paradox of that is that that same loose freedom is what makes you more able to be more accurate. Because in all my years teaching drawing, hello, how are you? In all my years, I find that, okay, in our minds, what we know we see, there's a part of our brain, it's actually like the ego brain, it's like the judgment brain, it's the brain that goes back to, remember at the beginning of this video, I said ABC, like it uses perfect lines to make symbols, to express things. Well, what I really want, that brain always wants to symbolize things. And there's another brain that is more honest, but is perceived as messy and imperfect. So as we work, I'm so glad to hear that you're doing good. As we work with both sides of the brain, like most of us are overdeveloped in the micromanaging, symbolic, and more judgment-oriented part of the brain, and we're a little less, we feel less safe, and I believe this is based very much on schooling and things. We feel less safe in that intuitive, explorative part of our brain, which is usually, you know, referred to as the right brain and the left brain. The right brain is the more intuitive side, but believe it or not, you're going to be able to draw more precisely, more accurately, more specifically and truthfully using that free intuitive side of your brain, which is like more honest and more uncomfortable with the rawness of things, than if you're working with your ABC 1, 2, 3, let's draw letters side of our brain. So Model Magic is very much about that. And for some of you who just hopped on, I just want to mention again that we have the coupon code for $110 off the course, which is a $333 course. You'll get it for just $111 if you use the coupon code REMEMBER in the next 24 hours. That's a promotion I'm doing. I may reactivate it from time to time, but right now it's a push because I'd love to get a new group on board. While we're here for another moment, I want to talk to you, I want to give you any of the juicy stuff I can. So I'd like to mention, I know my battery is a little low, so I won't make this too long, but teach you about Tonality. I don't know if you know about Tonality. Fashion Design Infusion is an online course I created where I do have a lesson about color theory. I actually forgot that. And when I got to the sales page creating the coupon today, I realized that on the sales page, I'm offering Fashion Design Infusion, which is 8 hours, 8 separate master classes. I'm putting it in as a bonus, which is kind of crazy. So in the next 24 hours, if you've ever been thinking of studying with me, you're going to get humongous bang for your buck if you were to sign up with the coupon and get the 2 courses. So I'm just saying. So tonality. Tone is like, imagine when you look at things without color. So even though there's white and brown and black and grayish beige here, think of if you put this to a photocopier, you would only see shades of gray and black. So value goes from, lighter. You can prioritize or order the values from the lightest to the darkest. So this is the lightest. Maybe this is medium. The brown is a little bit, actually, the white, maybe, then the brown, then this gray area of sheer black, and then the pure black. Those are like the different levels of tonality that are in here. And when everything you study with me, we will play with Ailton. Para quem tá aqui que fala português, Ailton has a podcast called Músico na América. And I've been featured on that podcast, but it's all in Portuguese. So Ailton bassist, you got to check out that podcast, guys, and get the interview we did last week. Okay, so for tonalities, I'm always collecting all the black art supplies I can. And I'm always collecting all the white art supplies I can. Not as many browns, although I love to have a brown paint for creating skin tones. But remember how I showed you the China marker for that pure white? Well, this is Prismacolor, just a regular Prismacolor Premier colored pencil. Also is white, but it has a very different feeling and character than China marker. And I just want to point that out. So that's another tool I would totally recommend you get. It's beautiful over gouache, which, gouache is what I teach in my Freedom Fashion Complete program. You see how I can use it to be sheer, or I can use it to be opaque, but it has a different textural quality than China marker. And what's this? Oh, isn't that interesting? I have another China marker. It says China marking pencil, but it's a different brand. It's called Diamond brand. I told you they do come in different brands. So I'm always collecting those. Okay, because I know my battery's a little low, I'm gonna wrap up, but depending where you're seeing this, if it's on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, the link will be either in the comments below the video, in the caption for the video, or in the post, or whatever. And I'm like super excited to share that with you. Let me see if I can. This is one of the books I co-authored, and I'm just gonna flip in it. I shouldn't, because I have art supplies all over my hands. It's also available in Spanish. I'm just gonna flip in here to show you some of my illustrations. These are not my illustrations. Oh, come on, I thought that was gonna be easy. It's called the Fashion Design Reference and Specification book, and it's really cool. It's kind of like a great foundation, and it's like purse sized. Okay, I'm looking in here because I know some of my illustrations are in here, and usually they just pop right up, and now I'm not seeing any of them, which is weird, but I just like to leave you with that, leave you with something today. Hello, where are my drawings? I guess I should have marked them. Let's see. There's a few cute illustrations in here. Those ones weren't mine either, but some of them are, and then some of the text. Oh, here's one. That's funny. This is a fun one to look at because this came from a live demonstration I did in one of my classes. And you can see that I don't do extremely tall, skinny models. That's not something I promote. These are quickly done with gouache and pencil on a sketchbook page. And that's something that, that's why I teach model drawing, so that you can sketch your costumes or designs easily. But even more so than that, these aren't my sketches either, but there are some more of my sketches in here. Jeez, that's so funny. The universe is like giggling. Oh, here's some. Here's one demonstration sort of teaching some model drawing proportions, but the model magic class is more about movement like this sketch, not so much static. And it's more about, you see how there's like play of light and shadow and more expressive techniques. This class is more about that kind of stuff. And actually, Model Magic is not so much about specifically drawing clothing. It's much more about, oh, here's another one of my sketches. Now they're all turning up. This is a sequin shorts and a patterned top, also with gouache and pencil. It's about really capturing lively movement so that your figures have life, you know? So they're not so stiff and flat and thin, but more vivacious and kind of walking off the paper. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up so I don't end up losing it all. Oh, wait a minute, my friend Duri. I went to school together. Duri Chung, amazing designer, just gotta say. Her illustrations, she's here on Insta, Duri Chung. And I just saw this. This is Isabel Toledo, who passed this year. Cuban-born New York City designer. And Tracy Reese. Tracy Reese is a designer, actually, and Isabel Toledo. I featured both of them in my book, The Language of Fashion Design, 26 Principles Every Fashion Designer Should Know. So you may want to check those out. Okay, I love you guys. I hope you got some juiciness out of this video. And if you did, please let me know. Share some feedback, ask questions. And if you visit the sale page for Model Magic, there are 2 free classes on the sales page, so you cannot lose by visiting, okay? I'm Laura Volpentesta from FashionIllustrationTribe.com. There's also goodies on lauravolpentesta.com. I love you so much, and thank you for your time, for being with me today. Bye-bye, guys.